Hey everybody, it's Adam Biggers, and I'm here to talk about Michigan football. What else do I get on YouTube for? So I'm going to give a couple minutes for everybody to join in. In case you missed last time, I came out of hibernation and we did I think it was like last Sunday, about a week ago. Talked about the whole, yeah, it was a Sunday following Michigan, Wisconsin. Everybody was about talking fire Harbaugh. That's all you heard about. So then we see this past weekend, Michigan 52 to nothing over Rutgers. We'll get into that. Still a big game for Michigan. A lot to talk about, but like I said, guys, and if you follow me on Twitter, I'm no longer a Michigan beat writer. I was down there for a little good stretch, but I'm still connected. I still follow the program. I'm still a college football fan. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been a sports writer. So I still enjoy talking about it. Still enjoy your guys' feedback. So I'm going to get into the video and then I'm going to tweet. It looks like some people have already joined. Let me see here. And I think the connection's a lot better. Angelica Campos. What's going on, Angelica? How are you? I'm back. It's just came out of hibernation, like I said. I mean, I like talking college football. I like using Twitter. YouTube is always fun, and it's better. It's weird because once you're a sports writer, and I mean, if you follow sports, really closely, it's difficult to find people to have conversations with. It's almost like politics or religion, right? And those are two things that I don't usually talk about with people in public, or if I don't know them. And sports is another thing because you run into some people who are just so ignorant when it comes to sports. You cannot talk any type of sense into them, and you're literally just wasting your time. So I find my best sports conversations are actually on Twitter and YouTube, believe it or not. So um, we talk about Michigan football. Let me tweet the link here. Angelica, what did you think of the win over Rutgers? Is it just a win over Rutgers? Is that all it was, or was it something more? I think yeah, 52 to nothing. I didn't expect Michigan to cover the spread. I even tweeted that. I said there's no way Michigan covers the spread. If you would have told me they're going to blow them out 52 to nothing, I don't think I would have believed you. But it was a good win for Michigan, and it showed some life. So, and like I said, with the Wisconsin game, yeah, it wasn't just one loss. It wasn't just that was kind of indicative of Michigan's lack of performance during big games. But at the same time, that win that doesn't mean fire Harbaugh. Everything's done, and everybody's just ready to abandon ship and hop over, and you can't panic over one game. And I know it wasn't just one game. It was a game that caused some concern. But again, Michigan, I said in the beginning of the year was going to be a good team. I don't know if Shea Patterson's going to contend for Big Ten Player of the Year. He was my preseason pick. I don't know if that's going to happen, but Michigan can still do well. Michigan can still compete for a Big Ten championship at this point. Let me tweet this really quick. Okay. It looks like you're the only one in here, Angelica. Last time, okay, here we go. Here's MIC Books in here. What's good, Adam? Hey, MIC Book. How's it going? God's Child. Michigan will look totally different going forward. I mean, we talk about games that define the team, right? And I mean, a loss. I've always known this, both personally and through sports and just life in general. You learn a lot more about yourself um, going through adversity than you do when times are good. There was I forgot. It was a documentary I was watching, and actually some type of like Samoan saying. I was watching I like documentaries a lot. I was watching a documentary on Pacific Islands, and it's actually like you don't learn through pleasure, something like that. Basically saying you learn a lot more about yourself when you're getting your ass kicked and your times are tough, and than you do when everything's going well. And so I think this really could have been one of those moments for Michigan. Michigan is too talented of a team to not compete for a Big Ten championship. And when everybody was ready to just, the wheels had fallen off and everybody was calling for Harbaugh's head, I just thought it was ridiculous. You cannot, like I said, yeah, it was more than just one loss. It is indicative of a problem, lack of performance in big games. We know that, but that doesn't mean that you just tear everything down with Jim Harbaugh. I think that I think with Harbaugh it's going to be a process, and I don't know how long. It's not going as quickly as Michigan fans would like it to, but I'll tell you this: he's a hell of a lot better than what Michigan had in the 7 years before, 6 years before, the time between Carr with Hoke and Rich Rod. What Jim Harbaugh's doing right now is still better than that. So I don't want to hear any argument about Jim Harbaugh not being the coach at Michigan, because I don't believe that there's any reason to discuss that. God's Child said a rebirth and resurgence. Yeah, I mean, it really could be that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jim Harbaugh used that exact term. Angelica says, side note, Adam, Michael Spath and Steve Deese started a site called the Wolverine Digest. You should link up with them. I know Michael. I've never met Steve, but I've known Michael for a long time, just by going down to Michigan. I actually appeared on his show at WTKA. I don't know when it was, like the 2016 season, something like that. He had me come into the studio. And Anthony Broom of Mason Brew, excuse me, Anthony Broom of Mason Brew, he was there. I like Anthony. He's a level-headed. There's a lot of love. He's a Michigan fan, but he's level-headed about it. You got to, like I've always told you guys, got to sift through the fanboy stuff and get to, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm not trying to crap on anybody, but said just a thought. I'll direct message Michael and see what he says. I'll let you know. Eric, I'm not even going to attempt that. Toulouse, can't judge them from the Rutgers game. Would like to see how they perform against a better team, aka Iowa. Well, and I get that, Eric, but at the same time, I tweeted this in the beginning of the season. A good team can do the following things: win its season opener, win its home opener, win its conference opener. Michigan didn't do that. It was on the road. Get a blowout win. Michigan could still get a blowout win. There's like 3 or 4, 5 different traits of a good team, a comeback win, that kind of stuff. The type of wins that are marks, or kind of trademarks of a good team. And Michigan responding to probably the worst beating it's had under Jim Harbaugh. I would think so. I mean, that game was ugly. You felt sorry for Michigan at a certain point. To come back, I don't care if it was against Rutgers. I mean, it was 52-0. 52-0 is 52-0. Yeah, I know it's just Rutgers. Yeah, they fired Chris Ash. He won like 3 games in the Big Ten. What was his record? 4-32 or I don't even know. It was Chris. He got like an $8.9 million buyout. So I mean, I'd take the money. It's better than getting embarrassed. You feel bad for Chris Ash. I mean, he went from being an assistant at Ohio State to going to Rutgers and being excited. I don't know what the hell they're expecting at Rutgers. I haven't seen the recruiting and stuff, but I would imagine that Chris Ash probably had recruited at least a little bit better than his predecessors. I know that the golden era and everything, everybody wants Greg Schiano back if you're a Rutgers fan, and there's talk of that, I guess. But what do you expect at Rutgers? I mean, you're not competing against, I don't care who it is. I mean, yeah, fire them, but 52-0. If you didn't see maybe something like that coming, it happens. I mean, they already beat them 78-0. What was that? 2016, 2017. So anyway, I'm getting off topic there. What I miss? Iowa will be a low-scoring dogfight, but a win could change the season. Absolutely, and I think, and you could build off the Rutgers win. You get that huge blowout win, confidence booster for everybody involved. Shea Patterson certainly needed some confidence. Gets to go out there and play his game instead of get worried about getting killed on every play, because his pass protection has been dog shit. I'm sorry. And now that I'm not media or anything, I'm not gonna swear all the time, but I'm probably not gonna censor myself as much as I used to. So I've always called it like it is, and sometimes I have to say what it is. I mean, the pass protection for Shea Patterson, up previous. I mean, we'll just look at the Wisconsin game. He got killed in that game. I mean, he's been getting killed all season, but he got annihilated against Wisconsin. I've rewatched that game a couple times and parts of it, and Shea Patterson took a beating in that. Angelica says, "Okay, back to the team. What's your opinion on Cam McGrone? Do you think when what was that? When Ross comes back, he should be starting over Glasgow?" I know people are talking about Cam McGrone. Jordan Glasgow's had his struggles. I know. Uh, I'm not ready to say yank him yet, but Cam McGrone is going to be good when it's his time. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I don't know. I don't. It's hard to tell. Like I said, I'm not down there, so I don't know what their day-to-day thinking is and what's the absolute latest on Cam McGrone. They could have just said during availability, "Hey, Cam McGrone's our starter." I don't know that, but I would think that Don Brown's a loyal guy, Jim Harbaugh's a loyal guy, and I gotta believe that it'd take more than that to unseat Jordan Glasgow. 35. Hey, Robert says you can judge based on Rutgers because they did what a good team's supposed to do against Rutgers. Yep, we agree on that. Exactly. A good team will have a win like that. I don't care. A good team, like Robert's saying, like I said earlier, will do that to a Rutgers. So, oh, thoughts on Gaddis on the sideline instead of in the booth? Seemed like communication was a lot better when he's on the sideline. I don't know why it took 4 games to figure that out, Robert, but holy crap. What a difference. I mean, Michigan State went through the same thing after Treadwell, their offensive coordinator. And Booth coming out on the sideline. I feel like we see that a lot. And I mean, if you're the offensive coordinator, obviously in the booth, you want to be able to see, you get a bird's eye view. I know the view from the press box is great at Michigan. I'll miss that forever. That's a great view. If you ever want to go to a game, yeah, sitting in the stadium with the fans and everything, but if you want to really see what's happening and everything, you can see everything. That's the place to sit. So I can understand that they want to be there, but you have all these offensive analysts and all this other junk, of ever rotating offensive staff that's never going to be the same, it seems like, at Michigan. What if they find great success this year and the next year they're out shopping for another offensive coordinator? I mean, stick with one guy. That's been my kind of gripe about Michigan's offense the past few years. So, but back to Gaddis being on the sideline, it doesn't hurt. And I mean, I saw the post game. Shea Patterson said that, that it provided a boost of energy. They're used to him doing that in practice, so I mean, it wasn't really a big change. God's Child says Cam needs to start. Any other questions? We could talk about Iowa, I guess, if you want. Noah Stanley, pretty good quarterback. They got a good run game. Trivia: which former Michigan Wolverines defensive lineman's little brother is a defensive back at Iowa? What is his name? There's an Ojemudia at Iowa. I just gave it up. It's Mario Ojemudia's brother. I can't keep a secret for shit. Mario Ojemudia's brother. In case you don't remember Mario, he was a defensive lineman. Really liked Mario. It was a good interview. A real nice guy. His little brother, Michael, he leads Iowa with 2 interceptions this year. Little bonus fact for you guys. I'm still going to look up some of the stats. I'm not as hardcore. I can't tell you I can't rattle the stuff off. I'm not around it every day. I don't look. I try to keep up on it, just so I know what's going on, but I don't know all the stats like I used to. I would have to look. I did look up a few just to be on point, because I did want to bring up with Iowa. And I thought that if you want to compare the two teams, I mean, there is a common opponent, Middle Tennessee State, and that was a 48-3 win for the Hawkeyes. So if you want to compare common opponent, you can do that. I do think it's, yes, Owen Schussler or Mario. Angelica says, what's your opinion on Don Brown's defense? Do you think it's a gimmick? I don't think it's a gimmick. There's been too much. There's just been too much success with his defense, and they're not winning in the big games, and I understand that. And giving up a ton of points, in the big games, I understand that. I don't think it's a gimmick. I do think it's I don't want to say out-coached, I don't think it's a personnel issue. Michigan recruits as, as well as any team in the country. I don't think his defense is a gimmick. We've seen what it can do at its highest peak. Do I think it's susceptible? And yeah, and people have been saying that Don Brown said that. If you rewind when Don Brown got to Michigan, I remember when he was announced as the defensive coordinator and people describing his style as risk to reward. He acknowledged that. I don't think it's a gimmick. I just think right now the risk to reward, maybe, I don't know. We could get it's been exposed. I'll say that several occasions, but I don't think it's a gimmick defense. Robert says Mario was doing so good at Michigan and got hurt and was on pace for a really good year. Yeah, Mario was I liked him. He was a good dude. Goshaw says his defense dominates lesser opponents, but equal opponents destroy it. I don't think every time. I mean, you can make that argument in big games, but I don't think it's a gimmick. Is that just a lack of preparation? Is it? I mean, there are so many factors that go into it, but I don't think to describe Don Brown's defense as a gimmick. I wouldn't use that word. We've seen enough proof that it can be, and yeah, and then I understand the counter. You'll say, okay, well, it was against lesser teams. Now you got me thinking. Now I want to go back and dig through all the scores. I'm like, what was maybe now I think I'm just dismantling my own argument. Anyway, next topic. Thanks, guys. Child, appreciate that. Questions, comments, concerns about Iowa. Robert says, I think it's been solved a little. Ohio State last year, but it worked against Ohio State every year before that. He has to adjust to other teams' adjustments. And again, does that just go to being out coached? It's not so much is it a gimmick. I don't believe it's a gimmick. It's just are you getting out coached when it matters most? Well, I guess, yeah, you could say that. Owen Schuessler says a bye week going into the Wisconsin game should not be a lack of preparation. I agree. He had 2 weeks for that. Eric, and how did I say it? Tulasek. Michigan's interior D-line is very weak. Needs to be fixed or Iowa will bully us, just like Wisconsin did. And Eric, isn't that weird to say? When is the last time that we've ever said, during the time that I covered Michigan, that never came out of my mouth. I never wrote it. I never suggested it. Anything about Michigan's defensive line being weak. Michigan's defensive line, if anything, was always the most consistent position group. That was it. And I remember when I started covering Michigan, it was at the end of Rich Rod and then in the Brady Hoke era, 2012 for Bleacher Report. So it was Brady Hoke. Rich Rod experiment was over with. And maybe there's some concern about the D-line that year. I know by 2014, Michigan's D-line there was no question about Michigan's D-line at all. And then all the way through last year. So 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, that's 5 seasons where Michigan's defensive line was among the best, not only in the Big Ten, probably when you start getting 16, 15, 16, 17, among the best in the country. Even up to 18. I mean, we're not just talking a really good Big Ten defensive line. We're talking about one of the best defensive lines in the country. So now, to see all of a sudden, I mean, and what changed really? I mean, Greg Madison's no longer there. The players graduate and move on, declare for the draft. But Michigan's D line's always been deep. So it is a surprise to see Michigan's defensive line struggling because that's always been, the backbone, the linchpin, whatever you want to call it. The spine. I think Jim Harbaugh called it the spine of the defense a couple of years ago when I asked him about it. So it's always been important. Cameron Clark says, Adam, what's your opinion on Michigan's lack of a run game? It concerns me at this point. Yeah, me too, Cam, because every successful Jim Harbaugh team has always done what well? Run the ball well. Go back and look at all of them. Go back to San Francisco. any successful Big Ten team, I mean, really, you got to be able to run the ball. This is not Michigan's lack of run game is concerned. But you got to understand too, Zach Charbonnet not at 100%. Their top back. I don't really know. Maybe I'm making an excuse for Michigan. The run game's not good. I agree. Robert says I need to see those two highly rated freshmen playing more at DT. I think the defensive ends are just fine, no interior push. Owen Schuessler says Dwumfor and Kemp need to step up. Their seniors need to start making plays. Dwumfor has been injured though. So, and I thought that Michael Dwumfor was gonna have a big time year. I've liked Michael since like 2017. I'm like Dwumfor is gonna be the man. I was really hyped on Michael Dwumfor and Kwity Paye and Luigi. Those three guys, I was really hyped on all three of those guys. Luigi, his freshman year, he had a red shirt due to injury, and I have a story about that actually, and I'm not. It was just a stroke of luck, or I don't know, luck. I didn't tweet it for a couple days because I wanted to make sure I confirmed it and everything. I was at least polite, be like, hey, this is what I know. I'm gonna tweet this, just out of courtesy, I guess. I don't know. So anyway, I met Mr. Spots, which used to sponsor my podcast and the live stream and everything, and I'm getting some food after an availability, and Luigi Valen comes in there. And we're sitting, if you've ever been to Mr. Spots in Ann Arbor, what is it, 808 State 808 State in Ann Arbor, free commercial for Keith and for Keith and Tim. Anyway, Luigi's in there and he's on his phone, and there's another player with him, and he's either talking to somebody in his phone or he's looking at his phone and talking to the other player across from him. And I want to say the other player may have been Kwity. I'm not sure. Anyway, Luigi's like, yeah, I got a red shirt this year. So it doesn't get much more direct than that. That was weird. I had never had anything like that happen to me or seen anything like that. I didn't like hang out there or anything like that. So I didn't live in Ann Arbor, so I didn't bump into these guys generally in public. It's just going to get food at Mr. Spots, and Luigi Valen comes in and he's either telling the guy across from him or he's talking to somebody on his phone holding it like this. That he's like, yeah, I got a red shirt. So it's weird. Anyway, God Charles says, will Shea ever pass for 300 plus yards in a game? I don't think he has to. That's the thing. If Michigan, and especially if Michigan's running game's going, I mean, Shea could pass for, 200, 225 and be beyond effective. If Michigan can get, that 140, 160 mark on the ground, and Shea can throw for 225, gets the job done. I'd really like to see this offense go back to what it was in 2016, 2015. Jed Fish, I've said this before. I don't know why. That was a fun offense to watch. They did everything well. They threw the ball well. They ran the ball well. Michigan's, up until this year, Michigan's running game has improved every year under Harbaugh. This year it's just hit a wall. And again, injuries are part of that. Angelica Campos said, this is about Don Brown's defense. She said, sorry I said gimmick, but I'm really looking for reasons of failure against big teams. No, I get it, Angelica. I mean, I'm hesitant to use that word, but I can almost see what other alternative is there? Because you're like, okay, well, it's been billed as this, super defense, number one in the nation. What was it? At one point, teams were averaging, it was a stats like 0.8 yards per carry. Per rush. I mean, it was ridiculous. They're averaging like 2.9 yards per play. That was with pass plays factored in as well. Don Brown's defense unstoppable. And then you see these really good teams put up 30, 40 points on them. So I can understand. I guess it's fair. If you want to call it, what other word is there? I'm with you on it. Eric says, just got his cast off the week of the Rutgers game. I'm sure it'll take him a game or two to get back in rhythm. He's talking about Dwumfor. Robert says, I think the running will be better if the quarterbacks start keeping the ball and keeping the defense honest. They're running option plays and not reading the defensive end. They're just letting him crash down. What'd you guys think of Joe Milton, actually? Joe looked good. I thought if Shea was battered and everything, and obviously he was good enough to play, and he was healthy. He had a really good game. But if he wasn't, then I was like, why don't you start Joe Milton? So we saw some Joe Milton. Looked like he's got some zip on the ball. Strong arm. Yeah, he's got a rocket arm. Rocket arm. I read an article. I forgot who wrote it. Something about, you guys know I'm a baseball guy. Joe Milton in high school, they were recruiting him to play baseball, and his football coach, I guess, was like, no, 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 you're not doing that. And they said because the baseball was too small for him, so they didn't want him to play baseball. I guarantee a guy like that with huge hands like that, it's like average size hands if you're throwing like a lacrosse ball or a cue ball. You know what I mean? Like a pool cue ball. So to imagine just to have gigantic hands like that and be able to throw a baseball, you could basically throw whatever pitch you wanted. Crazy possibilities, and he's got a rocket arm too, but no baseball for Joe. Andy K says Milton looked sharp Saturday. Robert says he's going to be special, but I don't think it'll be at Michigan. Sadly, DMAC or Milton will leave after next season, depending on who wins the battle. And now all of a sudden, you really start getting these for me, I never viewed Dylan McCaffrey. I thought he was really athletic. I mean, he had wheels. He showed them off. And I've liked Dylan. I was like, it's Dylan's turn after Shea. I've been steadfast on that, but now I'm really concerned. I'm like, Dylan's like one hit away from, I mean, really something bad happening. I don't know how else to put it. I don't want to even speculate or talk about career ending for any guy. But I mean, Dylan, I've just seen it. He's like a magnet for that type of stuff, and he's such a talented player. And I don't want to see injury end anybody's career. And I'm not saying that at all, but I mean, if I had to pick a guy, it's like who's going to be, I feel like Dylan McCaffrey, he's put himself in some spots. He's taken some hits, some cheap shots too. It's just like every time it's like, oh man, is he hurt? Is he hurt? And I mean, concussions are no joke either. So I mean, yeah. I just don't know if now I'm starting to lean. I'm like, okay, maybe could it be Joe Milton? Because is Dylan durable enough? Angelica Campos says Joe looked good, great. That bullet he threw to DPJ was crazy. That was like a video game pass, wasn't it? That was those type of throws shows off a guy's arm strength too. And if you just looked at the spiral, the way that it's not just so much how hard they throw the ball and how far it goes, it's the way that it travels. And I mean, Joe can put enough arc on it, but he can also throw them on a line. I mean, he's got that. His arm is strong enough that he can make any throw. Cameron Clark says it'll be fun watching those two compete next year. Eric says, what do you think about the Ohio State versus Michigan State game this Saturday? Michigan State is going to get its ass kicked. Oh, that's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. I tweeted after Michigan's loss, and it was at that moment, statistic, blah, 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 comparing everything. At that moment, Michigan State looked better. Brian Lewerke was playing. Brian Lewerke he did some great things for the Spartans against Indiana, and I tweeted something like, for as many mistakes as he makes, he just finds a way to make up for them, and he's not a quitter. So you gotta like that about Lewerke. But I mean, struggled against Indiana. They're going to go to Ohio State. Ohio State's offense is just on full tilt right now. So I think the Buckeyes are favored by like 22 or something like that. I mean, this could be one of those 48-10 type of games. I mean, really, it could be really ugly for Michigan State. The Spartans are going to lose. I don't have any doubt about that. But it's just the level of ugliness. I would be shocked if Michigan State went in to Ohio State and won, because then what are going to be the discussion points, I guess, with Michigan State fans? Because Ohio State's already being tabbed and people are already asking, is Ohio State the best team in the country? That's not the best. It's, what are they ranked right now? Number four. I mean, the Buckeyes are for real. There's no doubt. So if Michigan State goes there and shocks them somehow, then there's going to be a lot of Michigan State fans beating their chest. And is Michigan State the best team in the country? So I don't see Michigan State beating Ohio State. I don't really see anybody beating Ohio State. Although my preseason prediction this year was this would be the year Michigan would beat Ohio State. So sorry about that. Chris H says, "Is this the triumphant return of the Adam Biggers Big Ass University of Michigan podcast sponsored by Mr. Spots 808 State?" Keith and Tim already got a plug earlier, Chris, but no, it is not. I'm just popping out to talk a little bit of football. Don't want to get too off topic. If you guys want to bring up anything from Rutgers, if you want to look at Iowa, I don't know. It's early in the week. I would advise whatever I can't tell you, go read somebody's preview stuff. They can tell you a lot more than I can. Do you think State will drop the next two games? What's their schedule? Let me look. It's Michigan. They're playing. They got Ohio State this week. And at Wisconsin. Yeah, very. Why I did not know that is, I'm not sure why. Yeah, definitely. This could be the beginning of the end for Michigan State's title hopes. Tell me, luck of the draw on that schedule. Like, thanks to whoever scheduled that. Who made the? It's like, did you have to schedule Ohio State and Wisconsin back to back? I'll tell you what. If Penn State's after that, then I'm gonna. Whoever made Michigan State's schedule this year needs to be fired. And of course, they don't know this in advance, so I'm just joking here. Michigan State on a bye week. Yeah, and they'll need it because after Ohio State, Wisconsin, that's pretty tough. Thoughts on DPJ and Black sitting out the rest of the year? They're definitely sitting out the rest of the year, guys. I mean, I told you. Come on. I was on the phone with Harbaugh. He called me and told me, hey, Tariq and DPJ are sitting out. And I'm like, Jim, are you sure you want me to tell people this? He gave me his blessing, and then I did it. Come on. And I know they're saying that Beetlejuice didn't start the rumor. But I have like a sneaking suspicion that it's like this dude's got fake accounts up the ass. He posted with a fake account and then cites that. Whoever made it up. And for the people that even were slightly believing it, but this stuff gains enough traction to where it gets the players' attention, and Donovan Peoples-Jones tweeted about it, and so did Tariq. So I thought that Michigan man that shows you the level of thinking and the level of operation with this guy. Just total maniacal bullshit, and it's crazy that Michigan pays so much attention to this, and that the players feel like, and they have to do it because so many people. I mean, it's one thing somebody started rumors, but then when all of a sudden it becomes a huge topic of conversation, and with social media, it's so easy for those to spread, and then all of a sudden, I mean, I literally could go on the Wolverine message board or any message board right now and go post a rumor, and somebody is just completely fabricated, and someone could take that and go put it on Twitter and say, look, I saw this on the message board. Then next thing you know, a blog is citing it, and another blog is citing it because this blog cited it, and then a couple other blogs are citing it because these blogs cited it, and it's all because of a rumor. And we've seen that with the fake Shea Patterson post, that the fake one. I think MGO blog ran it, busted covers. There were a few blogs I clicked on, I saw it. It's like, if you don't know that's obviously fake, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. Jeremy Turner says, what's good, Big? Jeremy, what's going on? Luke 1008 says Penn State after the bye for MSU. I didn't look yet. All right, they're done. Are we just going to declare Michigan State's season done right now, or talk about what year was that? 2015 when they I think they ran. I think it was Wisconsin, Ohio State, Penn State, something like that. That they had like 3 weeks of just hell of the best teams in the Big Ten. So, and they came out through. I want to say it was 2015, the 2015 season. Um, Might have been the 14 season. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. All these seasons run together anymore. I don't even know. Impossible though. I don't know if this is the type of Michigan State team. That was like a Connor Cook team that did it. Offensive. He had NFL talent around him. Wide receiver on the offensive line. He had a great defense. That was no fly zone Michigan State. Angelica Campos says it was probably the bum Yoder starting crap to get clicks, and you know it. You know it was. That's what I'm saying. You make your own hype. Unfortunately, and that's a lot of that's a marketing technique actually. People do that. Cameron Clark says not to mention MSU plays Michigan so late in the year. Whoever made that schedule sucks. This is a difficult year if you're Michigan State. No matter how good of a team Michigan State becomes, this is a schedule that's stacked against you. Against you. No way. Angelica Campos says, "So Adam, what are you doing now for work?" Well, Angelica, it's we could talk about. I always wanted to tell people. People are like, "I want to be a sports writer," and I'm like, "No, you don't." Well, you do. It's fun. I did well, loved it, but at the same time, um, after a career, and it's anything really. If you do something for so long, you get tagged as just a sports writer. So I've worked in communications. I'm actually looking for something else right now, and it's weird because you don't. I try to do my best to explain, like, okay, yeah, I was a sports writer, but there's so much going. When I was at FanRag, I was assistant site manager. There's a lot of stuff that goes, believe it or not, that you can apply to other jobs. And I mean, just social media skills. There's, I could type like 90 words per minute. I mean, it's probably gonna be something clerical, administrative, something where I use my communication skills. But I mean, really good Microsoft Office. I have graphic design background a little bit, so it's just process of finding like the right fit, because when you do something for so long, you get tabbed as just that. So it's communications related right now, but maybe not for long. Angelique says Penn State came out strong against Maryland. Their team to watch. Yeah, what was that, like 59-0? That game was over. Andy K says USC cap behind you. Oh no, this is Swartz Creek. This is my hometown where I grew up, just outside of Flint. Dragons. A guy that played for me, because I grew up at Swartz Creek. I went to Swartz Creek High School until I was a sophomore, and a guy that played for me, Corey Milbrot, he's from Swartz Creek, and he's like 24 now, 25. And he still plays in the Flint League. He's an assistant at Swartz Creek, and he sent me photos of the hat, and I'm like, I need that. So this was a couple years ago, but yeah, Swartz Creek hat. They used to have a similar logo to that when I was in high school, and everybody liked it because it looked like the USC logo. So it's like kind of like a throwback, even though it's uh, USC's logo, Swartz Creek. It's a throwback for Swartz Creek, I guess. Oh, Angelica said, hold on, let me see here. Have you seen Clemson's schedule? A bunch of cream puffs and community colleges. I don't like to see you play Michigan State's schedule. I looked at Wisconsin's got Kent State this weekend. So I mean, so much. I mean, it's not a bye week, and no disrespect to Kent State, but once you get to this point in the season, you need to be playing all conference teams. And I know, I mean, the SEC will do it. You know, they're notorious for that. Week 11, Alabama versus Bethune Cookman. That's happened. That has happened. Matt Crittenton, no long time no see. Matt, how are you doing? I'm gonna check Twitter, see if anybody's said anything on Twitter. Nope. If you don't already, go ahead and follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. I don't have a website to plug anymore, but if you're gonna go read stuff, read the people that I do. I read Aaron McMahon from MLive. I read Angelique Shengelis of the Detroit News. If you guys watch the show, you guys know Angelique, friend of the podcast, good friend from the beat. Let me see, who else stuff do I read? I'll read Nick Baumgartner's. He's at the Athletic now, kind of switching between Michigan and NFL Detroit Lions. So I'll read Baumgartner's stuff, but most of the time, like I've always said, you know, Borton, Ballas, those guys do a good job. So Matt Pargoff, Amazing Blue News, does a good job. You guys know about Sam Webb. So am I still taking questions? Matt wants to know. Yeah, go ahead, shoot. And in case I was joking about Harbaugh. I was just thinking about that. Someone's gonna take that seriously. I was joking about Harbaugh calling me and telling me that Tariq and so it was a joke. If you guys didn't follow it on Twitter, and you guys don't or came in late on that, I was just thinking about that. Do I think Shea can get it over the hump? I do. And I mean, Rutgers game is the type of game to do it. I mean, it's got to be a confidence builder to be able to go. He threw an interception, but I mean, to be able to, he had 3 rushing touchdowns. Basically, did what he wanted. Michigan's offense looked good. Teams need games like that. Good teams will go out and get a blowout win. And there's no other way Michigan could have responded about. You know what I don't like though is the backpedaling a little bit from some of the uh, and Braylon Edwards. I'm just gonna say it, man. This guy did a complete 180. Was just shitting on Michigan the week before, and now he's like, oh well, now you got to praise him. Well, but you're a little late to the party there, Braylon. I mean, I'm not a big fan on that. I'm not a big fan of that. So I think you know, if you're a logical Michigan fan, you knew that it wasn't the end of the world against Wisconsin. You knew it was indicative of a problem that needs to be fixed, but you knew it wasn't just the end of the season and it wasn't time to fire Harbaugh. What other way? Uh, Now it'd be more concerning if Michigan had a close game against Rutgers, and that I thought that I tweeted them like, "There's no way Wolverines are going to cover the spread, and it's going to be 24-17 Michigan. There's no way." And you know, lo and behold, they go and blow them out 52-0. So after it was 14-0, I said, "Okay." I tweeted, "Okay, it's going to be a blowout." So Matt says, "Did you hear Woodson say?" I didn't hear anything. Angelica Campo says, Angelique is awesome. Sam Webb, yeah, both very good. I was always partial to Angelique because her and I joked around a lot, and she hit me with camera selfie sticks. I think we had that on video. We talked about that. Let me see. What has she done? She makes fun when it's Halloween. I gotta send her a picture. I have these orange Reebok pumps. Try to wear them on Halloween every year, you know, with like an Orioles hat. It looks sweet to me. I don't care. And she always made fun of my shoes. Those shoes. She complimented some other shoes. What else did she also do? Angelique was really mean. Actually, come to think about it, Angelique was very mean. Don't read Angelique Shengelis' stuff. She's mean. She hits you with selfie sticks, and she makes fun of your shoes. No, Angelique is awesome. Matt Crinan says, any interest of you getting back on the beat? Personal questions, I know. I would say that it's always an open possibility. It's just about the right opportunity. So, and at this point, I really do feel kind of in the middle. Like, I'm looking for something else. I liked being just a sports fan, and I mean, you could still be. There's a lot of sports fans that are just, and this is what I always wanted to tell people. I mean, I never thought like of myself. I was just a regular guy, like regular person, just like everybody else. And a lot of you know a lot about sports. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of educated fans and everything. And I was just able to take, I thought that I understood things pretty well, and I enjoyed what I was doing. So I never thought of myself as like a stuffy media member or anything like that. I just I looked at it from the standpoint of um, how would a sports fan cover a team? And sports fans, people who want to really know about the team, this is the stuff that they want to know. They don't want the other junk that goes with 90% of just what I'm talking about, just the prepackaged bullshit. And the true fans wanted they want substance. I mean, that's why people pay for subscriptions for people like Sam. Because you want the inside scoop. So that's why I always looked at it like that. Like what can I, and I'm inquisitive by nature, so what can I know? How much information can I get? And that's how I approached it. It wasn't just a job like, okay, well, I'm a sports writer, and okay, this, I got to write a column on this, I got to do, I want to know everything that was going on, because the fans want to know everything that's going on. So is it really, I mean, it might sound cheesy. I always thought I was just an extension of fans, really. I was your inside guy, for the fans, for, lack of a better term. Because I mean, not saying the other guys didn't know, but I don't think I always liked the fact that I had a good crowd, people asking questions, and we had a lot of fun, and people valued what I wanted to know or what I had to say. So it was fun. It was fun doing that, and like I said, I wanted to be accessible. So when people told me that all the time, they're like, "Oh, well, at least you respond on Twitter," and to me, I mean, I was like, I'm doing a job that so many people would kill to do. Not kill, don't kill to be a sports writer, but you know what I mean. And I just wanted to do a really good job at it. So Matt Crittenden says, "Do you see Yoder starting the rumor of Tariq DPJ sitting out the rest?" I don't know if he specifically started it, but I think that he had used a fake account, posted it on the message board, then said, "Hey, look, who knows how that guy's mind works." Cameron Clark says Angelique's mom is the only reason why I follow her on Twitter. I never met Angelique's mom. I've heard a lot about her. Never got to meet her. Heard a lot about her. Nick Gray says, "Good to see you back." Hey, Nick. Thanks for joining. Joel Brown says, "Biggs." Let me know. I think the internet connection was pretty crappy last time. I think it's better this time. It doesn't seem to be lagging. Any questions, comments, concerns, guys? We're going on 48 minutes. Non-sports topics. I like a lot, and that's the thing too. Like when you do something for so long, there's so many other things. I mean, yeah, sports are pretty much. Actually, I was gonna say there's so many other things to life, and not everything. Yeah, it's something athletic or competitive, but I was always like really into music and that kind of stuff. So it's weird to not have like your life structured around, okay, press conference, game, all this other stuff, and you actually have an opportunity to do other stuff. It's just weird. Cameron Clark says, "How's the dogs Harbaugh talked about?" Oh, that would be, and that was during Iowa week because it was an Iowa reporter who wrote about it, and they got famous. Yeah, my two black labs. One of them's back here on the couch, actually. This is just downstairs. I'm remodeling that other room.